Hello and welcome. My name is Brian Kaplan. I'm editor of The Banker. I'm here with Danielle Miles, who's the Investment Banking and Capital Markets editor. And we're at the Banker's Investment Banking Awards 2017. Danielle, it's obviously a very exciting night. You were one of the judges. And it's been a very tumultuous time for investment banking over the last 12 months. I mean, did that show up in the kinds of awards entries that you received?
Absolutely. So our awards period goes from June to June. So starting back in June 2016, kicked it off with Brexit, onto the US elections, and then onto some of the European elections as well. And what's really clear is how invaluable the investment banks were at helping their clients navigate that period, be it risk management, opportunistic M&A or IPOs.
Okay, now one of the things that we do with the Bankers Awards is we focus very much on innovation. So we're not big on league tables, it's all about innovation, which makes it a very level playing field for the independent banks and the smaller banks. Have we seen more of those banks coming into the process?
We really have. It's much more of an even playing field, I would say, this year than in years past. We've got the likes of Lazard, who did very well, sort of taking M&A and the SSA category. We've also had Credit Suisse winning emerging markets, so it's not just the usual names that are cropping up.
Okay, and we've also introduced some new categories this year, so tell us a bit about those.
We've introduced 3 new categories to reflect the very evolving nature of corporate investment banking. So we have a CSR category, which recognises the banks being
corporate social responsibility.
Corporate social responsibility. The fact that banks have very forward-looking and forward-thinking CSR policies.
And I think we've got one for SMEs, is that right?
We do, to recognise the fact that investment banks are helping those smaller companies access the debt capital market.
Whereas they would have got bank loans, now they're going to the capital markets.
That's right, yes, It's feeding on that disintermediation trend. And finally, we have a FIC trading category, which recognises the strides that banks are taking to tackle the regulatory and digitisation trends that are changing.
So some exciting new categories there. And what about the sort of business overall? I mean, it's always been an international business, but are we seeing it becoming more and more global, despite what's going on in politics?
That's right. It's to the contrary. We see many asset classes becoming very international. So we have typically US products, which are cropping up in Asia. We have dollar-denominated Schuldschein. It's very much globalisation is alive and kicking when it comes to investment banking.
Danielle, it's a very exciting time. We'll look forward to the evening.
Thanks, Brian.
The next one is the most innovative investment bank from Western Europe 2017, and that goes to BNP Paribas.
I'm here with Anne-Marie Verstraeten, who is UK country head of BNP Paribas, which has collected a number of trophies at our awards this evening. Anne-Marie, congratulations.
Thank you, Danielle.
BNP Paribas has gained reputation as one of the world's most forward-thinking investment banks. How does it feel to be recognised tonight with the Western European Award?
In one word, great. At BNP Paribas Corporate and Institutional Bank, our ethos is to be the long-term partners of our clients, corporate and institutional. In so doing, we aim to be the best European headquartered CIB. A lot is to be done, but an award like this one recognizes, I think, that we have the right strategy, a good model, and that we are making progress. It's also a very nice opportunity to say thank you, in the first instance, to our clients, to our teams who have worked very hard to achieve this, and to The Banker magazine for continuing to cover the sector during ever-evolving times.
Absolutely. And so some of the deals that the judges were particularly impressed with are some of the regulatory capital deals, some of the equity-linked deals. But how about to you? What stands out as the major highlights?
Well, it's true that in this world of ever-emerging regulations and capital needs, our financial institutions, clients, have given us really the opportunity to work with them and look for solutions. So one particular deal that stands out to me is the NICredit 500 million euro issue. Yes. I think this was really a first in its kind, a 3-year note, which really is a new asset class, given that it ranks between equity and I guess what we would call the old style senior notes.
Yeah, really kickstarted a new asset class.
Yeah, and I think it was in answer to the Danish buffers that were required. So this was clearly, I believe, well received. Moving beyond the debt side, obviously, we were very proud that combining our expertise in equity derivatives and in the primary markets, we played a major role in structuring a pioneering bond for the World Bank in March of this year. And that was pioneering and innovative because it is the first bond that linked its return to the performance of corporates, which are advancing the priorities and the goals of the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations.
That's very important to BNP Paribas. I know sustainability is a pillar of certainly the investment bank. How important is it in the day-to-day operation of the bank?
Well, yes, this is one example of actually a much broader program, and it's true that we have really moved beyond the box-ticking exercise. We have worked hard to embed this in how we look at solutions for clients, as well in our own commitments as a business. So we, for example, do a lot of work on developing sustainable indices, and this way we really contribute to offering to investors asset classes for which they seem these days to have a significant appetite.
And Marie, thank you very much for your time. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
The most innovative investment bank for leveraged finance, and the winner again is Credit Suisse.
Hello, I'm Danielle Miles, Investment Banking and Capital Markets Editor at The Banker magazine, and I'm here with Matthew Sester, Co-Head of Global Leverage Finance at Credit Suisse. Matthew, thank you very much for joining me. You won the Leverage Finance Award last year as well as this year. How does it feel to be collecting it 2 years in a row?
Very happy to be here. We're super excited to win it for a second year. I think it's kind of a reflection about the activity at the firm. This is kind of one of our core areas of expertise, leverage finance, and it's a great testament to our clients who are willing to come back to us many times to do some of these financing.
So some of the deals that the judges were particularly impressed with are the Virgin Media receivables financing, as well as reopening the UK and French high yield market after Brexit and the French elections. But what stands out to you as the real highlight deals over the last 12 months?
I mean, there's many deals and many important clients, but a couple deals I think you just referenced there. This Virgin financing that we did, which was a really kind of a solutions-oriented financing. One of the things we focus on is figuring out how the capital markets can step into the shoes of what traditional lenders may have done. And so that was a specific need that this borrower had, Virgin. And so we crafted a kind of a very interesting deal there, and that was nice enough to be recognized by you and a few others. The other thing that we do a lot at Credit Suisse is really focus on these large global multi-product and multi-currency deals. And I think something else you've highlighted for us is this Dell financing, which is not just the size of it, but also some of the scale and complexity of that. And so those are two examples of what we've been focused on and what our clients have allowed us to work on last year or so.
And obviously there's lots of changes happening within Credit Suisse's investment bank. How committed is the bank or the group to the leverage finance business?
Sure. So leverage finance, we've been fortunate to win lots of awards like this one and others, and so it's right at the core of what we do at Credit Suisse. So we're really focusing on those businesses that are really client-facing, that have high returns for us, that are very meaningful for our end clients. And so this leverage finance business, both regionally in New York and then globally, kind of meet those characteristics. And so there are a couple big themes happening globally, including this in this region, which is the growth of capital markets. So as bank lenders start to wane slightly, these capital markets investors have been stepping in. So we think there's a long-term growth story here, and that's in part why the firm is very happy to support that, both in terms of financial investment, human capital investment, and other.
And thinking about the market more broadly, obviously volumes have been at record highs, I understand, for the first half of this year, and there's a very strong pipeline, I hear. What's the outlook for the rest of the year?
Yeah, so we're really pleased. So record volumes both in our loan products as well as our high yield bond products for the first half. We think that's going to continue. There's been a notable shift away from some of the refinancing activity, so the activity that really characterized that first 6 months, into more M&A driven activity. So I think that's the change in tone that's going to drive the next 3 to 4 months before we get to year end. We think it's a longer term trend also for the next several quarters, and so I think that shift to M&A plus this sort of low interest rate and low sort of default rate environment really lends itself to raising capital in the debt market. So I think that continues. for the most part.
A lot to look forward to then. Thank you very much for your time, Matthew, and congratulations again.
Super to be here. Thanks for your time.
The most innovative team of the year is Standard Chartered.
I'm with Spencer McLean, Head of Capital Markets Europe and Americas for Standard Chartered Bank. And Spencer, welcome. Standard Chartered has got the award for the most innovative team, so congratulations on that. And it's actually for a Greater China Debt Capital Markets team. So it's been a very exciting market over the past 12 months, hasn't it? And you've been very active in the panda market. Tell us a little bit about what a panda bond is and what you've been doing there.
Of course, certainly. Well, firstly, thank you very much for the award. Very appreciative of receiving it. So the panda bond market is an international issuer that is looking to access the onshore Chinese investor base.
And what panda bonds have you done? Who have you done them for?
Sure. So Standard Chartered, I'm glad to say, have been involved in a number of panda bonds, starting with Standard Chartered Bank Hong Kong. We've moved on to do some FIG issuance for the likes of National Bank of Canada. We've also done some corporate issuance for Veolia and the SSA issuance for the likes of the Republic of Korea.
Okay, now one of the other interesting things that's happened with China is the IMF has now included the renminbi in its special drawing rights. That's like the IMF's own currency, isn't it? So what sort of impact has that had on the Chinese issuance market?
Well, the issuance market in the SDR-denominated basket of bonds actually first happened back in the 1980s, believe it or not, and it's not until recently when China has been promoting the internationalization of the RMB. So we've seen two issuances there so far. Standard Chartered Bank Hong Kong again issued there, as well as the World Bank.
Okay. Now the other important part of the Chinese market is actually the domestic market. I think it's one of the biggest in the world. Is that right?
It is, yeah, certainly. So it's the third largest bond market in the world.
And what sort of access does Standard Chartered have to that?
Well, Standard Chartered has a very broad range of licenses, so we're able to act in an underwriting and co-manager capacity across sovereigns, supranationals, the FI space, as well as corporates.
Spencer, thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Thank you ever so much.
Evening is for the most innovative investment bank of the year. The winner is Bank of America Merrill Lynch.
I'm with Alex Wilmot-Sitwell, who's President of EMEA for Bank of America Merrill Lynch. And welcome, Alex. And BAML has won the top prize this evening for the most innovative investment bank of the year. So give me a little bit of a flavour of the sort of ingredients that go into making a top investment bank. I mean, you're still sticking very much with the universal banking model, is that right?
Yes, I mean, I think our strategy is very much governed by what our clients want. And our clients clearly see the benefits of being able to offer a full service across the world to them, across multiple different products, whether it's M&A, whether it's capital markets, whether it's access to our balance sheet, whether it's payment services or corporate cards activity. So that universal broad coverage model is very important to us because it does allow us to be able to support our clients and our focused group of clients around the world in being able to provide them with the support that they need in terms of developing their...
All right, now you mentioned M&A there, and I think M&A, if I'm right, plays really quite an important role in your product suite. Is that correct?
I think M&A is a critical component of any service that are provided to clients because M&A is the one product in which you are inside the boardroom as a trusted advisor of the chief executive, the chairman.
So you get to find out everything that's going on.
You get to find out whether everything's going on, but it is an extraordinarily valuable relationship, and it's a relationship based on an enormous amount of trust because only clients that are prepared to put their trust in. There are very few banks that the client would put their trust in terms of opening up their entire strategic thinking and planning. And therefore the M&A product really does lie at the center of everything that we provide as a firm. And it's an area that we've invested in enormously over the last few years. And I'm very glad to say that as of today, we are one of the very few banks that would be able to claim to be a top 3 M&A provider in every key market in which we operate. Okay,
now talking about key markets, you're also present globally in an era when a lot of banks have pulled back, and you've placed quite a lot of emphasis on being strong still in Asia. Why is that?
I'd go back and again talk about our clients. Our clients tend to be businesses that have global operations And they want us to be able to support them across all of the markets in which they are active, and a lot of them are active in Asia. And therefore Asia does remain a very important market for us in terms of supporting our US and global client footprint.
Alex, thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Brian, thank you.